Across America, during our own cultural revolution, all kinds of statues are being torn down for all kinds of offenses, whether it's racism or imperialism or existing more than 200 years in the past. But here in Washington, D.C., the City Council wants to build a brand new statue honoring deceased Mayor Marion Barry. Barry, of course, had a long history of racially charged remarks. He was a convicted drug offender, too. Does he deserve the high honor? Jack Evans is a longtime D.C. City Councilman. Everyone in town knows Jack Evans. He supports the Barry statue. He joins us tonight. Jack, thanks for coming on.
Oh, Tucker, thanks for having me.
So no one would deny the charm of Marion Barry. I know you served with him on the City Council for a long time, but roguish doesn't really begin to capture Barry. He was like truly a terrible mayor and openly a race baiter and kind of without real achievement. Why would you make him the subject of a statue?
Well, I have to say, he was an iconic figure here in local Washington.
He was, for sure.
Without a doubt. And so it was one of my ideas to have a statue to him because of what he was able to do for the African-American population in our city and for the city itself. Now, remember, you wind the clock back when he came into office in '78. The city was new. First elected mayor was in '75, and he was able to, in his first term at least, really create a Washington that we have built on since that time. Created the black middle class here. He had a summer jobs program.
Maryland. I mean, if you look at you're on the City Council for a long time, you know the numbers better than I, but the black middle class and the middle class period, but especially the African-American middle class, fled the city under Barry because it was a disaster.
Well, I wouldn't say that's why they fled. They fled after the '68 riot.
For sure.
And then when Barry became mayor in '78, we started to really kind of rebuild our city. And today, as you know, Tucker, we're adding 1,000 people a month.
We are, yeah, no, it's way better.
In the city, yeah. And again, you go across the city, many African-Americans got their first job in Marion Barry's summer youth program. And again, remember in '78, it was very hard for an African-American to get a job anywhere. Federal government was kind of opening up.
He went on
and Barry really was
I know, but he humiliated the city. He betrayed the hopes of the people who believed in him. He was a full-blown crackhead, as you know. He got busted and went to jail the first time, but then he got busted again. He got busted giving his girlfriend a city contract. A bunch of his aides went to jail. Cornbread Givens, remember him?
Remember Cornbread?
I remember
Cornbread
I was here then. But he also had a long history of saying things like this, quote, "We've got to do something about these Asians coming in, opening up businesses, those dirty shops. They ought to go." Yeah. What do you think Asians in Washington will think of the Barry statue?
Well, I would say he has a lot of support in all of the communities, even in the Asian community. I mean, you remember Tony Chang and a lot of people in the Chinese community were very strong supporters of Marion Barry.
What if somebody else said, we've got to do something about these Asians coming in?
Yeah, you can't defend a lot of things that many people say or do, and so I'm not defending Marion Barry on that. And as you know, he later was very apologetic for making those kind of statements. But I think in the totality, Tucker, is what we're looking at here. The totality for the local government, the man was elected mayor 4 times, and he was revered in many parts of the city. And so we're looking for a way of honoring his legacy to the city.
Jack.
And I think you have to look.
In many parts. He was hated in almost all parts of the city.
Oh, no, Tucker, that's not
true. There was racial division at the heart of it. Look, I was here. I remember.
No, but he
gets reelected in '94, and the first thing he does is attack white voters and say, quote, get over it.
But remember what prompted that statement. There was just utter disbelief.
There was. I get it. But, like, look, you can't talk like that if you're the mayor of a city, can you?
Well, you can. And he had a roguish quality to him, as you know. And I think that endeared him to people. And I got to tell you, I traveled the city and the world with Marion Barry. And he was really a larger-than-life figure. God, I remember being in Africa with him. I was in Cape Town. People, Soweto, I'll never forget being in Soweto outside of Johannesburg with Marion Barry, and people were coming out of their houses to see him. He was really
come on, Jack, I can't get the street in front of my house paved, and you guys are in South Africa eating prawns.
No, we're not eating prawns.
Come on now.
Why
in the world? This is like the whole problem.
But he had a great sense of humor.
I bet he did. If I was in Cape Town on government expense, I'd be in a great mood too.
Being in Soweto with him, and we're walking down the streets getting dark, and I said, Marion, I think we need to get back to the bus. And he said, what do you mean we?
He was funny. I'll admit that. Let me just ask you, is there anything you could find out about Marion Barry? Cannibalism, human sacrifice, anything that would change your mind?
No, he didn't do any of those things. And frankly, I think Marion Barry really again, because of his legacy in the city, deserves a statue. So we're going to have it. It's going to be in front of City Hall, and it's going to be great. So,
really quick, can I throw, because I'm deeply offended by his opposition to gay marriage, for example. He was the only city council member against, as you know. But if I'm offended by this, can I throw a sheet over? Why not? Because it actually, my sensibilities are very delicate. We've known each other a long time. You know that. So when I throw a sheet over his statue to protect my children's eyes from it, what will you do?
You can throw a sheet over it, and we'll just take it off. That'll be all right. In America, you can do things like that.
No, you can't.
Now,
you get arrested if you do.
Can you help me get rid of the Albert Pike statue, though? We have a statue in my ward, 3 blocks from the United States Capitol, and he is a former Confederate general, the only Confederate general.
That's fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that as long as you don't rub the disaster of Marion Barry in the noses
Marion
of DC.
is a local hero, and we're happy to have his statue. So will you come to the unveiling?
Not in a million years. Thank you, though, Jack. It's great to see you. NFL player Marshawn Lynch had plenty of respect for the Mexican national anthem, but not for this country's. The president got mad at him, says he ought to be suspended from the league. We'll discuss that idea coming up.